Hi, I'm Beth Graves, and thank you for joining us on the Circus Arts Spotlight. Each week, we'll shine the spotlight on the people, programs, and events of the Circus Arts Conservatory. In addition to professional and student youth performances, we'll explore incredible outreach programs and learn how the circus arts impact so many aspects of life. For more information on today's topic, or anything circus arts related, please go to our website, circusarts.org. Now, let's get started.
The spotlight today shines on Jon Griggs. Jon has been with the circus his whole life. He attended the Ringling Bros Clown College and then became a performer with the circus, where he eventually worked his way up the ranks to become general manager of the Gold Unit. In addition to juggling, Jon walks on the stilts, and he was a catcher for the flying trapeze. He's an amazing coach at Sailor Circus Academy, and we're very happy to have him today. Hi, Jon.
Hi, how's it going?
Good, thanks. So, as I said, you've been involved with circus pretty much your whole life.
Yep.
So, do you want to tell us a little bit about your background?
Well, I suppose you could say I was a kid once. It all started back in 1985 when I filled out a little form for the Ringling Brothers Barnum Bailey's Clown College.
Okay.
And it was to get more information, and they sent me back a 4-page application. Well, before that, I had moved around. I think by the time I was 17 years old, we moved 16 times.
Wow. Now, were you in the circus family?
No. We were in the trucking business.
Oh, okay.
So my father would go from terminal to terminal in different towns, basically all up and down the East Coast. And that's kind of how I got used to the traveling.
Okay.
So when I filled out that application in 1985, I graduated from a normal high school, but I had taught myself to juggle. I had learned mime. I was in the band. So
wow.
What does that tell? Where does that take you? Well, I was juggling 3 flaming machetes in front of the marching band as we went on the field at football games.
Wow.
So it was to be a little bit different. And thankfully, I had some good teachers that believed in me and what I did. So that's kind of where I went.
Okay. So from there, did you fill out the application at that time?
Yes, filled out the application, sent it in. Didn't really hear back. And then suddenly one day, I get an envelope from the circus, and I open it up, and glitter flies everywhere. And it says, "Congratulations, you've been accepted for the Clown College." And I had just finished high school, so Clown College started in October, so I only had a couple of months to get ready, and went to Clown College.
So when you get ready for Clown College, is that similar to getting ready for regular college? Are you out buying sheets and a shower basket, or?
No, I mean, they sent us a list of stuff that we're going to need, but basically everything was provided. So they provide the makeup. We take care of our meals, and they take care of everything else.
So you didn't have to find your own juggling clubs?
No. No. Even though everybody had them that went there. So.
Yeah. Well, that sounds great. So tell us about attending the Clown College. What was that like?
Well, as a matter of fact, I attended Clown College with one of the other instructors here, Karen Bell. We were in the same class together. And the Clown College was very unique. It's nothing like I've ever seen before.
Right.
They had, just like a school, they had different classes they would do. So they had one class called Mask.
Okay.
Where it was all these masks with different faces on them.
Okay.
And you would put on the mask and become that character.
Oh. So
that was character development.
Right.
And, at the time everybody thought it was stupid, but now that I look back on it, it's like, wow, that was actually really clever, because in many ways, when you are a clown, you're basically altering your appearance with makeup, so nobody can tell who you are, and you have to become a different character.
Right, you're acting.
Right, exactly. You're basically acting, so you have to find your character and what they're going to portray. And that's, the easiest way to put Clown College, it's boot camp for circus.
Okay.
We learn teeterboard, we learn stilt walking, but not painter's stilts.
Right.
We used the old-fashioned pole stilts.
Okay.
And I actually walked the 10-foot stilts in the show. And those had a cowboy boot attached to it and a leather belt, and it's strapped to your leg, and you walked around.
Wow.
And that was pretty easy. And then they gave you the costume that weighed about 100 pounds.
Wow.
So it was, but it was a prestigious position
Right.
to be able to walk the stilts.
And you're very tall to begin with.
Yes. So I was 16 feet tall.
Okay.
From head to toe. And actually here at Sailor Circus, I'm passing on that tradition and teaching kids to walk pole stilts.
Right. Now, you said painter stilts versus pole stilts.
Right.
I mean, I personally don't know the difference. So.
Okay, painter stilts, you can go to Walmart and buy those.
Okay.
Anybody can walk those, and they're meant to just stand still.
Okay.
And they're basically used for people who are painting ceilings or putting up drywall or different things like that, just to give them more height.
Okay.
But pole stilts are more of an art form where they go taller than 3 feet off the ground.
Okay. Right. You said 10.
And they actually require skill to walk.
Right. I understand that. Right. And now there are also like the bouncy stilts now.
Right.
I guess the more modern stilts.
Right. They're more
ones.
modern, and we have a pair here, and we have somebody that's going to do it in our current production with Karen, the machine.
Right, which we are going to be talking about the machine momentarily. But let's see. So you worked for Ringling Brothers.
Yep.
And you started as a clown, I'm guessing?
Yep. Started as a clown. So I was on the road, the Red Unit, for 1 year as a clown.
Okay.
During that time, some people came over from South Africa with a new act that they were going to bring to the show the next year.
Right.
And so they wanted to train some of the clowns to jump on the trampoline.
Okay.
So we started learning that on the road. And then one of the guys looked at me and said, "Do you want to be a catcher?" Says, "We'll build a catch bar and put it at the end of the trampoline so that they'll jump from the trampoline up to you." I said, "Sure, let's try it."
Right.
And the next year, the act came, they were busy working, and one of the catchers left.
Oh.
So a position opened up.
How convenient.
Yeah, how convenient. And they started auditioning different people for this. It was basically a casting cradle catcher.
Okay.
Who's at the very top of the flying trapeze rig. So I was actually above the fly bar.
Wow.
So I was 40 feet in the air. And I would hang by my legs,
right.
And people would come flying across at me.
And you would catch them.
And I would catch them. So that's what I was auditioning for. And everybody told me I was too big, I was too young, I was too small, I was, just every excuse in the book. And they auditioned 5 or 6 people, and I was the only one that could tolerate the pain because it's extremely painful on the legs.
Oh, right.
So I have a very high pain threshold, and I was able to be the catcher.
So for people that don't know what the casting cradle is, I sort of describe it as the flying trapeze without the actual flying part.
Correct.
The catcher is basically on a platform hanging by his legs, and he uses his arms and catches people, and they do flips, and that's pretty accurate.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. So they'll actually swing back and forth in hands.
Right.
And he uses their momentum to fling them up in the air so that they can do tricks.
And then he catches them again.
And then he catches them again.
Before they come down.
Yeah. Actually, in our winter show, we had a cradle casting act.
Right. It's actually, I talked about this previously with somebody I was interviewing. It's my favorite act. I love it. I think it's fabulous. It's very exciting. And it's also, it takes your breath away. I mean, waving, it's a really, really cool act. So that's very interesting that you sort of graduated to doing that. And so how long did you do that for?
I did that for about 10 years.
Wow.
And I was, at the time, I was one of 3 cradle catchers in the world.
Huh.
So they don't really grow on trees.
Right.
You really have to train somebody, and they have to have a lot of qualities in order to be a catcher. So
the apparatus that we have at Sailor Circus that is used for this particular act, is it, I want to say, more comfortable for the person that's the catcher? Is it done differently than when you did it?
Nope, it's pretty much the same thing, just 2 metal bars, one on top of your feet and one under the back of your legs.
Wow, I didn't, never thought about how that might hurt. So after you did that, how did you make the transition into management at Ringling?
Well, I came back from Europe. When we did Ringling, I was on Ringling for 3 years. 1 year as a clown, 2 years doing flying trapeze, and then our act, people don't realize that acts are actually independent contractors.
Right.
So they'll travel from circus to circus with a contract and perform there. So we went to England and we did a winter show with Jerry Cottle's circus in Wembley.
Oh, okay.
At the Wembley Stadium. And so we did flying trapeze there in a tent. So that was a new experience for me. I'd never been in a tent before.
Right.
Then from there, we got a contract to go to Taiwan. So we were in Taiwan for 9 months.
Oh, wow.
And then we came back to do winter work in Holland at the Ahoy Hala was the name of it.
Okay.
And from there, we were seen by a German circus owner, Mr. Garrett Simonite, and he had his own circus called Circus Barnum.
Okay.
No relation to Barnum.
Okay.
It was different, Barnum.
Yeah.
And so we worked there for 9 years, and it basically ended with all of us hurt.
Oh my gosh.
My brother-in-law had bone chips in his elbow.
Wow.
So he couldn't straighten his arm all the way. My wife tore her stomach muscles, and I had to have reconstructive surgery on my knee because basically everything got ripped out.
Oh my gosh.
So
burning
the candle at both ends
right.
is what we call it.
So I guess it was when you were performing in Germany that you met your wife.
Yes. Actually, the first year we were there, our troop leader, Rodley Stevens, had his sister come over to work with us. And she started working with me up in the center. Yeah. And
love at first catch.
I suppose. It worked out.
So she's from a circus family.
Yes.
And do you know how many generations is she? Is it a new circus family?
I think it's 5 generations.
5 generations. Wow,
she's 5 generations.
That's pretty good. So you came back to the U.S.
Came back to the U.S. and
she obviously came with you.
Yep. And we got married here in the States afterwards. And we basically looked for something to do, and we found a circus school in California.
Oh.
So we went out there and worked for them for a couple of months, and then Ringling Brothers came to town, and we went to see the show and started seeing a whole bunch of people that we worked with in Europe.
Yeah.
And that's when I basically sent in my resume, and
they hired you.
They hired me as a clown again, but this time to teach. I was going to teach the clowns what's called the low casting act or mini rig act.
Okay.
Picture it as the flying trapeze rig, but in miniature.
Okay.
So instead of there being 18-foot long flying cables, we would have 7-foot.
Okay.
So everything's just miniature, and we work over crash mats. We don't actually work over a net. Right. The catcher doesn't swing. He is in a fixed catch bar.
Okay.
Kind of like the cradle.
Right.
And then they'll fly across and do different tricks over to that catcher. So it's more like a comedy act.
Okay.
So that's why I was hired to teach the clowns there to do this. And so we put the act together, showed them, and basically what had happened was they had another show, Cavalier, which closed down, and David Larible, the clown, came over to our show.
Okay.
And basically, you can't be funnier than him. So the act kind of got
set
aside. And so when I was there as a clown, I built the rigging that we used for the mini rig.
Right.
I built all my own equipment.
Okay.
And so there was a problem with some of the circus's equipment, some of the circus backstage property. And the guy that was there didn't know how to fix it.
Right.
So I went in and fixed everything and welded it and all that. And a short time later, they asked me to be the backstage property manager.
Okay.
Which is taking care of all of the props, the wagons, not the ones that are used to transport equipment, that's transportation department, but the different props that are used in the show.
Right, okay.
So if there's a wagon that goes around pulled by horses, I'm in charge of the wagon, Animal Crew's in charge of the horses.
Okay.
So I would have to fix all that. I'd have to pack it, move it from town to town.